Have you realized that women who are pursuing their goals, women who have big dreams, women who are talented, women who are busy, don't usually talk about having children? They're too busy to think about having children. It's women who have nothing to do who actually try to find meaning by having children. People get bored very easily, and most people ain't living the life that's actually worth living. Their lives are not interesting. There's nothing interesting about their lives, so they get bored. They ask themselves, what should I do? I mean, I'm bored and I have nothing to do. I don't have any dreams, I don't have any goals. What if I just have children to keep myself distracted? Because this is boring, all of this is boring. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video from Night Owl Conundrums. You guys should subscribe to her channel. You should check out her content. Really great content.
I had a friend who wanted to be a mother and have a child because she thought it would give her life some sort of meaning, some sort of purpose. She felt empty without it, like something was missing or
I usually tell people that humans do not have children because they think this world is great, this world is wonderful. No. They feel empty, they feel alone, they feel bored. They feel like all of this is meaningless because it is. So they're like, let me have a child. You see? Them having children has nothing to do with this world being great, this world being interesting. It has everything to do with this world not being good, this world not being great, this world not being interesting. This is what a lot of people do not realize. Listen, if people were truly having fun, they wouldn't even be having children. Remember what I told you in the beginning? I said women who are busy pursuing their dreams don't talk about having children. Why? Because they find meaning in that. It's people who have nothing to do who will want to have children because, well, they're trying to find meaning in life, and it's easy to have children. It's much easier to have children than it is to actually pursue your dreams. You know, not that many humans are interesting, not that many humans are talented. You know, like most humans are just average. So what should they do? You can't sing, you can't rap, you can't act, you can't draw. Like there's nothing interesting that you can do. So what do? Just you do the easiest thing that you can do, and that's have children.
she didn't feel complete or she didn't feel like a whole person because she wasn't a mother. Like it was her job, um, to be a mother. She felt that. And she didn't want to try to better herself. She didn't want to try to become a better person, trying to learn more about life, trying to just become a better human being.
Most humans ain't even interested in growth. Like they don't grow. They don't ask themselves what is going on in the world, try to understand something about the world that they are in. Don't try to learn anything about the world that they are in. They have children. They bring people into a world that they do not understand. I love asking the deepest questions, and I don't have any clue what the heck is going on. So imagine a person who doesn't even ask questions. They just live their lives. I mean, that's what most people do. They just live their lives. They don't ask questions. You ask them what they think about life, you realize that they don't ask themselves questions. I mean, people who ask themselves questions, when you ask them what they think, they already have an answer. If you ask me, what do you think this is? Dude, I'm gonna give you like 5 different answers. That's because I think. Most people don't even think. They just go on with their lives, just like animals. It's actually scary that these are the type of people that be procreating.
And that comes with like gaining more life experience. And she was young at the time, so she didn't even, I think she was like 19, so she didn't even bother trying to fulfill her life in other ways, try to find other things.
I matured too early. At age 19, I was more conscious than my peers. But looking back, I'm like, damn, I was still a child. So if I was more conscious than my peers at 19, and when I look back, I still feel like I was still a child, imagine how other people are when they're 19. It's crazy that young people be having children even though they are still children. Like they're still growing, and most people don't even grow, but they are still in the process of growing. But they decide to bring an innocent child into this world, and they're gonna raise that child without really understanding what this world is and what they are really doing. I mean, most parents really suck. I hate that we do not talk about this. Like, most parents really suck. They have no idea what they are doing. They don't understand children. They just abuse these children. That's why we grow up traumatized. It's because, I mean, human beings are complicated. A child is complicated, You gotta know some things to raise a child. You shouldn't just be like an average human who knows nothing about psychology, who knows nothing about life. You haven't studied anything about life, and you having children. When your children ask you questions, you don't have the answers. Like it's abuse, man. It's abuse, and no one is talking about this. We're abusing children because we're too dumb to know exactly how to raise them, and no one teaches us how to raise children. We just do whatever we think we should be doing, and really doesn't really work. That's why many adults are broken. It matters how you were raised.
To give her life meaning, or even know herself enough to where through that she would know what she wanted in life.
Yeah,
She
man,
just
it's important that you know yourself. There are a lot of people who regret having children. Like, the number of people in this world who actually regret having children would blow your mind. Like, people really regret it. It's just that most of them won't tell you. Most of them won't tell you, but they really do regret having children because, well, it was a mistake. They didn't know what they were doing. They were young, they were bored, and they thought, yeah, let me just have a child, and maybe my life will be better. But it doesn't really get better, man. Most people do not accept the fact that this sucks. Like, it will never get better. It wasn't meant to be better. That is why even if you achieve your dreams, you still feel empty in the end. You try so hard and go what how does this song go? I try so hard and got so far, but in the end it doesn't even matter. Yeah, you try so hard and get so far, but then still, in the end, nothing really matters. You can have it all and still feel lonely because, well, you're not really meant to be satisfied, and none of these things that you want are really worth it. You're just trying to keep yourself distracted. You're trying to run away from yourself, basically, because you just can't be with yourself and be alone. And that should teach you something. I mean, think about it. If you can't be by yourself and be alone and be okay, and you decide, oh, yeah, but you decided you're gonna try to distract yourself, something is wrong. It means something is inherently wrong with you because you're trying to run away from yourself. If you can't sit down like this for 10 minutes, like you get bored, you want to do something, you are literally running away from yourself. So that means that something isn't right, like something is inherently wrong with humanity.
Right ahead, just went straight to, well, I want to be a mom and I want to have a child, and somehow that's somehow going to make me feel more fulfilled. Like I have a purpose because I'm a mom. I have a purpose, and somehow now I'm going to be much, my life is going to somehow magically fall into place because I'm a mom. So she had a child really young because she thought that kind of thing that would have given her purpose. So it's one of those things that lots of girls have that mindset, especially usually from lower income. They typically have a mindset, and I'm not just pointing out lower income people because
And it sucks because poor people are outbreeding rich people. Poor people are outbreeding rich people. I mean, it will make sense if rich people were the ones that were having children, you know what I mean? Like, you'll be like, hey, at least you can take care of them. But then it's poor people who are having children, you know? They don't mind handing over their cares to their children. Like, life didn't love you. Things didn't work out for you. You knew that the whole experience was hell. And you're like, all right, I know what to do. I'm just gonna pass this curse to my children. They'll deal with it. It's just like I've dealt with it. Like, no, that's horrible. It's horrible that that's how we're programmed. You must be real. You must be so real that you actually do what makes the most sense. Looking at your own situation. If you have suffered, then you can't trust this world. You can't, because you don't really know what is going on. I mean, this could be a simulation and you might just be getting tortured. This could be a prison for real, and you and your bloodline supposed to suffer. Like, you never know what the heck is going on. I mean, that should make you reconsider, the fact that you don't know what is going on, because this place really could be anything. It's scary. It's scary, man. People are scared. Like, oh, what happens? What happens after death? Are we still conscious, and where do we go? How do we guarantee that we're not going to find ourselves in a place worse than this? And some people create religions and lie to people, and you know that they're just lying to people. But there's still this feeling of fear. You're like, dang, what if they're not lying? But they are lying. It's a fact. They're lying. The Bible was written by people. Quran was written by people. None of these books were written by God, just people. People like me and you. People lie. That's what they do. People have hidden agendas. So you can't trust them. But yes, people believe in these stories because, well, what are they gonna believe? If you claim that you can hear from God and you lie to people, they want to believe you. That's why they believe people like Bashar and Abraham Hicks and Dolores Cannon. I'm not saying these people are lying to us. Who knows? But if you claim that you you can talk to God or to some aliens, you can channel some spirits, people will believe you and they'll follow you religiously because they don't know what is going on, and they hope that there are some people who can, you know, talk to entities that are not here, so that they will, you know, tell us what the heck is going on.
Some people who are from very middle class neighborhoods still have that, but it's more common among lower income people to think that way. But it's just one of those things that happens so much that it has to be kind of mentioned. It seems
Wait, all these ladies are pregnant. Oh, two of them are pregnant. And they seem young. Don't seem to know much about what's really going on. It's sad, man. It's sad that people get to suffer because people who don't know what the heck they're doing are able to reproduce. I understand that you don't have to be intelligent to be able to reproduce. Like that's crazy. You bring a child, this complex creature, and you raise it. You don't know what you're doing. Like it's scary.
most of the young women that share these views tend to come from lower income families and were raised in environments that were not healthy to begin with. So it's no surprise that they have trouble finding.
Yeah, man. We're so stupid that we don't see something wrong with raising children in an environment that is not healthy. Like you don't you don't feel ashamed to bring an innocent being into an unhealthy environment. Like you don't even you don't feel shame. You think that that's okay. Like that's scary. That is scary. I mean, you should feel some guilt, man. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to this innocent creature that hasn't done anything wrong?
Meaning and direction in our lives. We are all simply reflections of our environment, and that can sometimes limit our choices before we even know how to make them.
Remember what I said about free will? We're just victims of causality, cause and effect. There are no good people, there are no bad people. We're just product of our genes, circumstances, and traditions, and that's the truth. That's why you can't really blame anyone. And some people might say, why do you blame people for having children? I don't really blame them. I'm concerned, and I think it's important that people like us do whatever we can to wake people up, because if people are victims of causality, then we can change how they think. We can make them see what they are not seeing, because some people are just so ignorant that they can't really get to reach this level of understanding on their own. They need help. They need people like us to tell them that, hey, don't you see what's going on? Don't you see how they're treating us?
It's often very difficult to see beyond our nurturing, especially if our exposure to new things and new ideas is limited. Regardless, a child should never be used as a tool to give your life meaning or a sense of purpose.
100%. If you can't find meaning, deal with your loneliness on your own. You can't bring someone else into this. I like giving you the example from this movie, The Passenger. These people were going to another planet. Each one of them were inside a pod, and then something happened and one of the pods opened. This guy came out and realized that something wrong happened. He tried to get back, and he couldn't close the pod. So he was like, damn, what should I do? Then he saw this other lady, fell in love with her, so he decided to open a pod, but he didn't tell her. See, he was bored. He like, this is meaningless. So what should I do? Oh, I know what to do. Let me open one of the pods, and maybe I'm not gonna be so bored anymore. That's exactly like having children. You're so bored. You find this meaningless. So you're like, oh, let me bring an innocent being here. I mean, this innocent being is going to love me unconditionally because, well, I'm indoctrinated. I'm gonna tell it that I've done the right thing. The world is great. Life is a gift, and and I'm gonna convince it that it owes me for raising it.
And to do so should be considered a type of child abuse.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, these are often the same women that later grow up and complain about how they don't have enough money to feed their 3 children. Their children usually grow up in poverty, lacking proper education and guidance, and often end up doing the same.
And that counts, bro. Like, it counts where you grew up. If you don't get proper education, chances are things ain't going to work out for you. We are competing in this realm. Like it or not, you're not in a society where people truly care about you, where people will try to help you. They don't give a damn. If your parents decide to have you, even if they know that they don't have resources, no one is gonna care. They'll watch you suffer and no one care. They'll probably laugh at you if they see you wearing old shoes. Like, they'll laugh. Like, we don't care about one another in this world. People just like to pretend as if they care. So what happens is, because you don't get to learn what you need to learn in order to make it, you end up suffering. Sometimes you end up suffering worse than your parents, because remember, the population is growing every day, right? So there's more competition. So even if you are a little better than your parents, you might find that you don't make it because you are competing with a lot of people for limited resources.
Things and making the same mistakes their parents did, continuing to perpetuate the cycle of poverty and unnecessary suffering.
And just like I was telling y'all, that people who are busy with their lives don't really think about having children. So if you live in poverty, you have nothing interesting to do, there's nothing special about you, you just feel like you must have children. That's why poor people are outbreeding rich people. That's why dumb people are outbreeding smart people.
People often say that the education is out there, and all one need do is look. But what is often overlooked is that low-income communities may as well be on their own island, and that people living in those communities often share the same values and beliefs as each other. People living in communities like that have a heavy influence on how each other thinks and feels. So if a young girl sees all her friends having babies and starting families young, she may feel pressure to do so as well. I have seen.
And also, the reason why it's hard to make it out of poverty is because if you are living with people who are not successful in life, you're not gonna aim very high. Like, it's not gonna be easy for you to aim very high. I mean, yes, we are different. Some people do aim very high, but it's rare. You're just gonna be doing what everyone is doing, and you're gonna settle for less because you're not gonna feel like you deserve better. So you just aim for less, and because you're not even going to know a lot about the world, a lot about what's going on, you're not gonna have the necessary information to like really excel in life. So you just be like everyone else. And yes, peer pressure is a real thing. If you see your friends having children, you just won't be like, oh. And women copy each other a lot compared to men. I mean, men also do that. I mean, we're humans at the end of the day. But women copy each other a lot. I've seen that a lot, and they want to fit in. They want to fit in. They want to be in groups. They don't like being by themselves like that. So of course they will have to do what other women are doing. So if other women are having babies, they're gonna have babies as well. And in many countries, the government will give you money for having babies. Just like where I live in South Africa, even though it's not enough, they give them like, I think it's 580, which is like it's like $28 a month. That doesn't really do anything.
Seen several trailer park communities where the residents there seldom care what happens outside the trailer park or with the world in general. Yet they can
Or in
tell
the
you the
world in
names
general.
of almost everyone that lives in the trailer park, as well as information about the lives of the people that live there. By the time they leave or develop a greater sense of the world around them beyond the environment they came from, it's often too late, and they may already have children to take care of, thus trapping them in the same environment that created them. I often talk in my private life about antinatalism being a possible cure for poverty that no one wants to talk about. The subject seems to stir.
Yeah, antinatalism is the number one cure for poverty, 100%. You might think that the number one cure for poverty is money. No, not really. The thing is, you can lose money, bro. Like, you can make money and lose it. I know a lot of people who made money and then lost it and ended up homeless, you know. And, like, listen, if you do not have a child, you can never really be poor. Because when you work, you'll be working for yourself only, so you don't need to work very hard, and you won't even need a lot of things. It's not like we need a lot of things in this world. I do understand that we're empty and we feel like we need a lot of things, but you don't really need a lot of things. Like, having a lot of things won't really make you happy. It's just that people believe that. I know people who are doing better emotionally than people who are making a lot of money, who do not have kids. You're like, this guy is cool, man. He just wakes up in the morning and go to work, and he come back home at night, buys the kind of food that he wants, buy alcohol, if he likes being with other people, chills with his friends, joke around. Like, he's not stressing. Nobody calling him like, yo, dad, they say that we must pay this amount because we are supposed to have this and that. There needs to be security at school, there needs to be security at rest, so we need to pay this amount. I need this book, I can't afford this, I can't afford, like, that's stress. Like, that causes a lot of stress, especially if you do not have money.
Up too many negative emotions in people, so they tend to avoid it. It's already been proven that the more educated a person is, the less likely they are to have children.
Yeah.
But how can the necessary education reach someone that is isolated inside their own low income neighborhoods? From their perspective, they are just living out their lives as best as they can, completely unaware of the trap their own circumstances have created. The internet and social media may be the reason why teen pregnancy statistics are going down. Young people do have access to more relevant knowledge than ever before.
Yeah, true.
Even so, the influence of their initial environment will always be strong. Hopefully, with the continuing influence of social media, young girls can learn that having a child to give you a sense of meaning is always wrong for both the mother and the child, and that
Yeah,
by
true, true. And for any reason, really, because it can never be a selfless reason. I haven't heard a person saying, I want to bring a child into this world because this world is great. Like, I've never heard a person saying that. Most people, oh, not most people, everyone just have children because they want to have children. You know, they have a desire that they want to fulfill by having children. It's crazy.
waiting to have a child or not having a child at all will greatly improve the outcome of their lives. Currently, there is a lot of economic pressure among women to have children later in life. And although that is preferable to having children in your late teens and early 20s, the chances of having birth defects increase with age, and so does the potential to cause unnecessary harm. As an antinatalist, I would suggest not having children at all, therefore reducing the chances of creating potential suffering to 0%. After all, children that don't exist can't suffer. That said, if a person truly has their heart set on being a parent, there is always the more noble option of adopting. Adopting a child causes no suffering because the crime is already.
Yeah, man. You can love a child that's not yours. I've worked as a teacher, and I thought most of these kids that I was teaching were interesting. You know, so I realized that it wouldn't be hard for me to love a child that is not mine because I like those kids. Like, they were interesting. Like, kids are curious and they can learn. They can learn. They're not like adults. Adults can't really teach them anything. Kids are open-minded. They're willing to learn. They're willing to grow. Just that the education system is so flawed that it kills their desire to learn. By the time they're 14, 15, they no longer want to learn. But when they're young, they're really curious. Kids are curious, like really, really curious. It's just that they're like, most adults are dumb, so they don't really teach their children what's actually necessary for them to be taught. So they end up knowing nothing. You know, like, humans have a lot of potential, but we're taught garbage. I remember I saw this other guy. They call him the real life Aquaman. He can hold his breath for a very long time, and he can, like, he was like a superhuman. And I thought, we got a lot of potential. Like, there are a lot of things that we don't know that we can do because we're being taught garbage. They're feeding us a lot of garbage. By the time you're 20, dude, I don't think people really understand how dull they are. Like, they suck, bro. Human beings suck. Because they're taught garbage. Like, they prepare you to become a slave. That's what they do. That's what the education system is about. It has nothing to do with making you a better human. You're supposed to be a slave and be easy to control. So of course there won't be anything interesting about you. You talk to a lot of adults and you realize there's nothing interesting about them. They all think the same. That's one of the reasons why I like being alone. Like, what the heck am I gonna talk about with other people? Because they don't seem to know anything other than the garbage that they were taught.
Already committed by the biological parents. Your job would be to provide the child with a stable, healthy environment that they can grow and flourish in. Adoption is always more noble because you are not responsible for causing harm yourself. But
True, and also they will do a background check to see if you you qualify to raise another person, you know, because most people don't qualify to raise another person. It's like 98% of people who are here do not qualify to raise another person. You know, like for real. And even the 2% that qualifies, like they need to be taught a lot, because there's a lot that parents need to know.
Instead, you are trying to reduce it by giving a child a better shot in life than they would have otherwise have had. Having a child for reasons like to give your life meaning or sense of purpose, or having someone around to take care of you when you're older, or to help around the house, or for financial reasons is beyond selfish.
Yeah. You know, like there's no word for that. You know, there's no word for that. It's, bro, it makes me feel disappointed in humanity. Like there are some humans who actually be having children because they want people that are gonna take care of them when they're older. Like what? That's your reason? We can create jobs, you know, create jobs where people will be taking care of people who are older. That would be good. That would be making money. Some people actually like taking care of people who are older. You know, in a world where we knew exactly what we're doing, that would be interesting. But hey, man, this world is something else. Like it's uninspiring. You know, you don't look at what's going on and feel inspired. You look at what's going on and be like, bruh. Like I really get inspired. Like everyone is the same, bruh. No, this hive mind thing is real.
When we have children, when people have children, they gamble with someone else's life. You are always gambling with someone's life when you bring a child into this world. And that is never to be taken lightly, ever. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you guys be safe out there. Bye.
No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, man, she's right about everything that she said. Like, everything that she said. One of the best videos on antinatalism. Antinatalism is the final truth. That's why people who are antinatalists actually make sense. You know, you listen to an antinatalist and you're like, damn. I mean, what can you say against what she said? What will be your arguments against what she said? I like debating, and it's easy for me to create arguments in my head. You know, when people say things that don't make sense, it's easy for me to create arguments in my head, but I can't create an argument against what she said because it's the truth. It's the final truth. We really suck as a society, and creating more copies of ourselves isn't really the best thing to do. Like it's the worst idea, really, man. Or perpetuating something that is totally unnecessary. This reminds me of a scene from the movie Prometheus. This group of scientists went to this planet hoping that they will find our creators. They call them engineers, you know, the Anunnakis. Found out, they died. Found one of them in a ship. He wasn't dead. He was like the only one alive. They woke him up and asked him why they created humans, and he didn't even respond. He just wanted to kill them and go to Earth and just destroy the rest of humanity. Like we are a mistake. I remember in the movie Book of Clarence, one of the false messiahs said, God, humans, God's was mistake. He's on the cross because they crucified him. I mean, that's expected. You know how humans are. So he looks at them like, damn, this what the heck was God trying to do here? Hey, what was he trying to do? Like this, these humans. I don't know. That's something else, man. It's hard to feel proud of humanity. It's hard, man. We suck. That's why some people love animals more than they love humans, because we suck and we know that. So if you're an internationalist, man, like you've taken the right path, you know. There's nothing special about bringing more people here who didn't even ask to be here and who have to deal with um, the bullshit that is going on here. It's totally uncalled for. It's not gonna fulfill your life. You know, it's not gonna give your life meaning. You know, it's just a trick. Like your mind is tricking you when it makes you feel like, hey, you're gonna feel better if you bring a child into this world. You're not gonna feel better. You're gonna hate that child at some point, because most of y'all don't even know how to raise people right. So you're not going to raise them in a way that's gonna actually help them become great in life. So you just hate them. You feel like they are a burden. That's why there are lots of parents who actually regret having children. They know what they were doing. They thought it was the right thing to do, you know, but it isn't. We really suck as humanity. We should be better than this, man. Thank you all, guys.